Our next guest is no stranger to Ireland AM, but today she's here to share her experience of breast reduction surgery.
Yes, joining us is our resident forager, Feebee Foran, alongside aesthetic surgeon, Dr. Ahmed Salman. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. Feebee, great to have you with us again.
I'm here for a completely different reason this time.
I know. Well, congratulations on the surgery you had, breast reduction surgery last summer.
Yes.
Size, tell me what size?
Well, I was a double H chest size, and I've gone down to a D size now. So it's been a huge shift in not just me being able to wear different clothes, but also in the job that I'm in. I'm work with the land. I'm on my knees all the time working with the plants. I was basically walking on all fours beforehand. Do you know what I mean? Because I was hunkered down, and the weight of my chest was something else. So it's been really liberating.
So let's talk, because I think when you think of double H, I can't even think of it in my mind. Like, we're all trying to think, we're like, do we have a picture of this? What can we do? What can we show? It was big, big.
And I even, when I look back and try and find photographs of myself and go, let's see how really big they were. Truth was, I was strapped down consistently. I would normally, even if when I was on here on the show, I'd probably have about 3 sports bras on underneath my dress to literally compress me and hold me so that I wouldn't look like I was huge. So I don't really have a huge amount of photographs of myself with them looking so big, because I was always compressed. And if a picture made me look big, I would have deleted it straight away.
Before the pain and before it became difficult, how was that like growing up?
I can't remember a time in my teen years of not being conscious of how big my chest was. I definitely developed much bigger and much faster than the rest of my friends. Right. But aside from looking different, it had a huge effect on me from a confidence perspective, and also from a sports perspective. I was the girl in the class who every week would have my mum, Lizzie, write a note to the PE teacher, say, she's got a period pain, she's hurt her ankle, she's hurt her back. Because if I ran, if I was on a trampoline, if I jumped, if I did anything, I felt so conscious, I felt so uncomfortable. And like any teenager, you feel like everybody's looking at you. But when you have such a disparity between you and and the rest of the people in your class, you feel it massively. So as a result, I literally was going into class every week with notes.
So that stopped a huge part of your life. We talk about trying to keep girls in sport all the time. And we know that there are issues. We're starting to finally talk about, white shorts and periods and all that kind of stuff. But this was literally a huge impediment to you.
Massively, massively. So it would have stopped me from doing any kind of sports.
Yeah.
And then that led in as I got older as well. When it came to wanting to exercise and go to the gym and stuff like that, I would 3 sports bras. Try and run with 3 sports bras on you. Your lung capacity is completely different. You're bound. So it really knocked me off from doing any kind of, I suppose, cardio-related sports or exercise, because it was so uncomfortable.
Can I ask you, what sort of things were said to you? I'm assuming when something is so noticeable.
Well, listen, it's not more so the things that were said. It was always undercurrents of things that be said, and you'd always attract the attention of the lads in the class who'd have to have something funny to say about it. But more so, things were done. Like, I can remember as a 24-year-old girl, I used to work in town, going to get the Lewis, and a man walked straight up to me, 2 hands, and grabbed me by the chest. And in 4 o'clock broad daylight, while I was trying to get the Lewis home from work, do you know what I mean? So there was all of these different things that would just happen. And I can remember being in Thailand at one point and going to a nightclub, and I was all dressed up, thought I was gorgeous. And I remember when I got to the door to pay in, the guy told me that I'd have to pay the price of 2 people because they were that big.
Oh, God.
So things like that make you kind of go, what just happened there? So it was, things being said and things being done. It was, it's not great.
So tell us, you decided then last summer, right, enough's enough. I'm going to look into getting surgery. I'm going to get surgery and get these reduced.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was a bit of a 10-year dialogue with myself. It wasn't an overnighter. This was something that I had a hell of a lot of a dialogue with. But after my pal had got it done, and I suppose you get bravery when you see someone that having a surgery done, and you're like, I'm going to get that done. I'd also about a year before that, lost a pal who had surgery done abroad, and she passed away from sepsis after her surgery abroad. So I had decided, that's it, if I'm having anything like this done, I'm having it done here in Ireland, because I saw the
the really dark side.
Yeah,
and we were talking about that last week.
And the trauma of that. So I also wanted to have access that if something did go wrong, to have access to like a team here. And so that's what led me to have my surgery done here.
And I'm so sorry about the loss of your friend, because we were just talking about bariatric surgery last week, the things that can go wrong, the sepsis and the aftercare. But did you ever think about going down the public route? Because clearly, double H's, they are an impediment to your life. They were causing you incredible back pain.
Yeah, you would think so, but when it came to it, I would have had to get my BMI way down to a certain level before I would have been suitable for
so the barriers.
Public system. There's always barriers, and and also I work for myself. I had a kind of a key time of the year that I knew I was going to be quiet. That if I was going to get this done and take time out of work, I had a time period. I wouldn't have been able to choose that had I gone down the public system.
Okay.
Ahmed, as an aesthetic surgeon, how popular or how common are we seeing for breast reduction surgery?
Well,
what you're seeing, anyway.
Breast reduction is quite common. I usually do between 1 to 2 a week. In our hospital, we do up to 5 a week. It is common, and in fairness to the public health, because they're dealing with a lot of other things, they can't have the time or because of the waiting list. So for that reason, a lot of people who seek reductions tend to come to the private route. And because it's such a burden, and I know Feebee was quite clear about it during the day, but actually simple things that people don't realize. If you don't sleep in your bra, when you're turning in bed, it hurts. On a summer day with the sweat, you get fungal infections, so it's actually quite a burden. And a lot of people decide to sort of, instead of waiting 3, 4, 5 years on a public waiting list, to cut the chase. But it's not an instantaneous thing, I'm going to get a reduction. People go through a journey, as Feebee was saying. It takes 5 to 10 years between they take the decision to have it, and that's not a simple decision.
Because there are psychological assessments, as you said, from when you first thought about it, it was 10 years. So let's talk about the actual, you're going in, you're getting the surgery. What was the process like?
So I went in the morning. It was actually a very gentle surgery, gentle morning. I had got so much advice from my surgeon as to what was going to happen. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I felt almost like I'd already been kind of been there. So on the morning I went in, breezed in, and after they draw a few drawings on you so they know where to cut you, I just went to sleep under anaesthetic, and I woke up with a lovely new small pair of boobs. The morning of it was actually, I was excited for it. I did a lot of planning in advance of it. I got myself, extra like post-surgery bras. I got myself a little table for my bed so I could work from my bed. Little things, my pals had brought me up things like button-down jammies and shirts that I could throw on, because you're not able to move your arms afterwards. You can't lift your arms high because my stitches will go all the way around to almost nearly at my back because of the fold of the breast. So things like that, having button-down jammies and button-down shirts meant that my life was easier. So I was prepared for that. So I went in excited on the morning. And
recovery seemed to be going great. You had a bit of a setback though.
Yeah, it was
necrosis. Is that right?
I always say it was all going great until it wasn't.
Okay.
And I think this is almost like part of the reason why I say it's so important to have your surgery close to home. Everything was going great. I was healing beautifully until over one weekend I developed a necrosis on my right breast, and the skin went black and around the nipple, and I ended up having to go in and have that removed. I'll spare you the gory details because it was quite graphic, but they had to remove quite a portion of the inside of my breast through the nipple in my full senses.
Wow.
Which was quite it's affronting and traumatizing.
Yeah.
But that part was such an important reason why having that done here was important, because if I had to go away and get that done, having to get on a plane with a necrosis in your breast wouldn't have been ideal.
Is this something, Ahmed, that you see? There are obviously side effects or things that can go wrong with every surgery.
Absolutely. Look, there is no risk-free surgery. Surgery has complications, and this is part of surgery. With Feebee's surgeon, it was an incident that happened. We advised patient about it. The incident of necrosis is quite small in a center that does a lot, but no surgeon can say to you, like I've done over 1,000 of those, I had one. I didn't do Feebee's surgery, but it's not something that you avoid. But it's all in the planning. So the initial stage of the consultation is fundamentally important because you need to plan this. There's not one system that fits all. There are different techniques to do it different ways. And sometimes if you have a massive reduction like Feebee, probably a free nipple graft would have been a little bit safer in that regard. But there is no way you can say to somebody, you have to discuss their needs. And the most important thing about this is the pre-operative evaluation, because you need to decide not only on size and measurement and you plan your surgery, but you need to evaluate them for something fundamentally important, which is breast cancer. So if they have a high risk of breast cancer, you need to do certain imaging, certain evaluation. And in a large breast, self-examination is very, very difficult. Yeah. And also mammogram and ultrasound might be limited. So in certain people, you have to have an MRI before you start the surgery. And then after the surgery, which is incredibly fundamental, you must send all the tissue to the lab for analysis because, and I don't breach any confidentiality, but I had 2 patients over the last good few years that came back when the histology came back. They had cancer in their breast. Now, thank God, it was completely excised. Yes, so this is one of the fundamentals of having surgery in a proper center is you need that follow-up. Yeah, it's not as simple, have a surgery and go home. And then also, if you're, God forbid, if you're doing it abroad, how do you know they're sending it for histology? And then who's going to follow you up? So this is the fundamentals of having surgery in a center that you trust and with a surgeon that you trust.
And you have said that.
Yeah.
And how the aftercare you've had has been fantastic.
My surgeon was fantastic and gave me all of the side effects, told me all of these things. It's just one of these things that happen.
It costs more, obviously, upward of $8,000 to do all this stuff in Ireland. We do know it's way more than if you're travelling somewhere else. How much was taken out? What was the weight?
2 kilos.
2 kilos
off my chest. So if you imagine you're going around with sandbags of 2 kilos on your chest every day, the weight that's going to have on your back. I can remember the following day after the surgery waking up and going, what is this strange sensation in my back? Oh, I know what it is. The pain is gone.
Wow, really?
Literally,
that's the impact.
Instantly.
You're smiling from ear to ear.
Yes,
how has it been?
Made a huge change to my life, absolutely. I'm delighted with myself. Like, even after all the drama that I've been through, I go through it again because...
Would you, yeah?
Oh, yeah, because it's just changed. I feel like I have so much more freedom of movement. Pain is gone, and I can wear stuff that I want to wear, and I'm not so conscious of myself anymore.
Yeah, which is a huge thing.
Feel like I'm back in my own body
and
again.
And for what you do, foraging out, you know, doing, like, it must make your life so much easier. So it's
I'm
fantastic.
not walking on all fours anymore.
Pick up a 2 kilo weight if you have one at home there, and just kind of like that is a lot to be carrying around.
No, it's great. Listen, it's great to see you, and thanks so much for coming in and sharing your
Thanks
story.
for chatting to us.
No, it's brilliant, honestly. And Ahmed Salman, thank you so much as well. I know the two of you talking all sorts
it's
of
my pleasure.
Farming and foraging the whole lot. She'll have you out there now as well.
We have so much in common.
I know, it's brilliant.
We have so much in common.
That's so good. From Aurelia Clinic, thank you so much for coming in and chatting to us today. So great to have you in, Feebee.